Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? So, on Saturdays, I try to go a little bit later as to help facilitate the West Coast a little bit in the mountain time people. It's a little bit later in their evening. Maybe they'll be available. I wish it was me. No, that's a YouTube free thing. So, to err is human. So I wanted to thank JW at Soapstone. He sent me a text message saying, hey, I was looking for your swarm lure on Amazon and I couldn't find it. So I got to looking through my Amazon, and when I went to down to Mississippi, I'd put my Amazon on vacation. When I came back, I took it off vacation mode. I remember specifically doing it. And guess what? It reverted back to vacation mode. So I'd been in vacation for the last little bit. So I was able to get that fixed. There's actually a couple coupons running over there right now. So it's about 10% off. Actually, yeah, a little bit better than 10% if you get it from over there. So appreciate that he took time to send me a message and let me know, because otherwise I was not in a good way. And of course, when I activated it, it automatically came up as Amazon's choice, because it is Amazon's choice. So yeah, I screwed up. I do that a lot, it seems like. But I got the link right up there if you decide you want to click the button and come on in and talk some bees tonight. And got my 5-finger death punch shirt on, ready to roll. It's been a little bit warm, and now it's going to start swinging back cold on us. And so hopefully I'm taking a beating this year so far on my bees. So I am, I'm in that place where I'm worried right before the season, but whatever it is, we're going to deal with and make it happen. But it's just one of those things to where, it was not it's never what I think it should be, right? Every year, it's never what I think it should be. So always hope that it's better than I end up with, but we deal with it and we move on and just do what we can. So who all we got here tonight? We got DC, Dry Cut. We got Phil, Carl, Tritone, Sharon. We got the Honeybee Compound. We got Icy Mountain Honey. We got Steve from Daisy's Honey. Good to see you. James Knoll. Good to see you. Stuffy. Hell's Half Acre Apiary. Hey, Pastor Larry. Good to see you. Hope. Good to see you. And I think that's everybody that I see in the chat. And hey, Square Bee Farms. Good to see you. So as you guys know, the way we do this is you guys dictate the conversation. So I can talk. Everybody knows that. But it's much easier when there's more than one person in here. I'll send old Charlie a notification there and see if Charlie's available. He had an epic stream last night, so he may not be available tonight. I don't know. We don't know. Yo no sé. So just send him a new link, and we're doing it. That's it. I don't know what this is, but you got it. Hey, Ian. No politics. No politics. Can't do it. Cannot do it. But yeah, so I mean, this is always that curious time of the year when, it's right before things start to pop off for us, and we get that last little cold, and we just hope that it makes it until everything starts, all the flows get going and everything. Hey, Harris, good to see you here. And let me see, what do you say? Hard to know when to start building them up. Mine are flying into the shop to get pollen out of the bag. Yeah, I mean, we're getting a little bit of pollen coming in here. I put some pollen patty on them yesterday for the second time, and I still have some more I could put on them. I guess that's the benefit of losing colonies. Your resources you bought for them stretch a little bit longer. So that's what we've been working on. So I guess the main thing is I'm going to start marking my hives that look really good, because those will be the ones that I start to graft from and try to get the queens back up and going here. And I'm really surprised. I know it's a little bit later. I know Todd's out with his buddies from college. Brad is over at watching a movie with his wife this evening, which is not unusual. That's a good thing. And we're just trying to make it go tonight, try to make something happen over here. So sometimes we get into really good conversations, but that takes your participation by clicking the link, that link up there in the junk. So hopefully all you guys are doing well, and everything's looking good. But yep, Amazon is back up and functional now. Hey, James, I emailed you a link if you are available. Let me see. I was just watching Ian cuss at pins. Phil, you have a clarifier? What do and how do they work? So essentially, a clarifier is a set of baffles in a tank, and you drain your honey into one end, and as it slowly goes from one side to the other, it traps out different sized particles of wax. So it should be clearer at the end that you pump out of. Then you should pump that out to your tank or to your bottler or whatever, however your setup is to store it. Can't believe nobody's clicking. This could be the shortest live stream on Saturday Night history, because I still have my steering wheel up here. I could go driving. We could go driving. Matter of fact, I'll send this to, I don't know what Ian's doing. But I'll send him one just in case. Someday I'll get the internet. Hey, Grayson, good to see you. I've got every state that the game has currently. James is biting the hook. I watched James's video today. I watched Brad's video today. I guess I need to buy a membership to Ian's channel so I can watch Ian's stuff when he puts it out. Hey, Michael, good to see you. You're laying in the bed. Good deal. So what are you guys doing right now? I understand a lot of you guys are in wintry climates and stuff, but what do you guys got going on in y'all's apiaries? I think I showed this the other day. I got the bullets ready to go to Canada. So I'm going to have to get those in the mail and make a nice little... Yeah, it's raining here today too, DC. It says light rain right now, but it's going to be dropping back down to freezing temperatures over the next week. Steve's recovering from vacation. I know, man. I wish I could go to those places. But hey, I can now. I can do some things. There's stuff that I've got to do that I just keep pushing off. I should have been building boxes today, but I didn't. I just wasted the day away, pretty much. And it's going to come back and bite me. I mean, I've only got like 32 boxes put together, but in all honesty, I really don't need them at this moment. Added fauna to a bunch of hives today, trying to keep them alive through winter. Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Square B, where are you at? Where are you located? Hey, David, good to see you. Hey, Darren. Warmer temperatures. Feeding pollen patties, and we'll start sugar syrup next week. Hope you and I are on the same game plan right there. Philip's going to go get some sleep. I got it. Well, James said he'll be here in a minute. And, otherwise, once James gets on, smooth sailing. James likes to talk like I do. So, Michigan. Okay. Are you a youper or a troll? Hey, Doug. Good to see you, Doug.
You look lonesome.
Yeah, everyone's let me slide by myself tonight. They're all in the chat. We got 50 people in the chat. Nobody wants to click the button, so I appreciate it. What do you got going on, Doug?
I was down at the farm today and checking out the honey house, moved some snow. I got bees flying, got yellow snow.
Yeah, poop snow.
Yeah.
Don't eat the yellow snow, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh. And we got James.
Got yellow snow.
We got the Canadian invasion.
Don't eat the yellow snow.
Is that you, James, or was that you, Doug?
No, that was me. I got
okay.
it all shut off there. I was trying to. I was downstairs when I got this.
I sent you the email there because you don't do the Facebook.
I have a Facebook account, but a long time ago, what would be now, a year and a half, 2 years ago, my wife and daughter convinced me to buy a new phone. This was my password. so can't remember the password.
See that. Oops. Let me see. Wrong link. I was trying to share this over to the group there, but somebody else shared over there. James was saying he was bored. James Noel was saying he's bored. Go live. So the Bob and Doug, can a colony raise brood on honey alone? Well, they can, but that pollen is for the babies to eat once they hatch out, right? So
no, they need that. They need that pollen for the protein.
Yeah.
Let me see.
On nectar or honey alone, they can't raise the brood there. They need that protein for the proper development of the brood.
James, are you on your laptop or are you on iPad or something?
I'm on my iPad. Why is that?
I was going to say the update of those bees that were out in the snow that you sent me on. I was going to show that, but I can't show it from my phone to my computer.
Oh, I can email it to you.
All right. Can do
Let me
that.
see if I can do that. Bear with me a second here.
But I did get Amazon figured out.
Oh,
finally.
You're good in somewhere other than Mexico now?
Yep. Canada. I'm good in Canada and I think I'm good in Canada. Well, it's active in Canada. Whether or not it sells there or not will be another thing. But they are back active. Dave said he's in bed too.
Who's in bed already? It's
David Lewis. Well, where you're at is 8:15.
That's the only time frame that matters.
I was just looking at our forecast. +4 tomorrow, Monday +6, Tuesday +9, Wednesday +9, Thursday +6, Friday.
That's where we are. We are here, Doug. Like we got. I was out at the bee farm today. I can see the stubble coming back up through the field. Like we got nothing for snow left here. Like it's absolutely crazy.
Well, if we get a week of this, there won't be much of it left here either.
So, all right. So I know what the up and down does to mine. It brutalizes them. Is it? I mean, for you guys, I mean, Doug, you're outside, so it does make a difference for you more than it does for James, because James is in a climate controlled building, right? So,
thank goodness. If I was outside right now, I'd be having a hard time here. But yeah, I've never had to count on my air conditioning in January in northern Alberta before. It's just something that's not ever heard of.
well, so do you think? I mean, you've obviously been doing this long enough where you've seen it do this probably before.
No, this is the first time I've ever seen, and in fact, this is the first time I can ever remember. We've only really had about a week worth of cold weather, and the rest of it has been right around zero. Like it is. I've literally, we're at the end of January, and we have shoveled the driveway 3 times, and 2 of those times was just a skiff so that it didn't get packed onto the concrete. Like I've had the snowblower out once. That's crazy for Grand Prairie.
Well, with Doug up there, Doug winters his outdoors. So when it does this for you, what differences do you notice in the spring when you bring the bees out, or when you, I guess, go in them the first time, not really out?
Well, we generally get a thaw in January, but it only lasts a day or 2. What I worried about when we're getting a week or 10 days of it, if our bees start to brood, and the weather turns cold, our bees are going to be on the brood. They're not going to go back to the feed and cluster. And it could go hard on them. I would prefer it just stayed, it can stay 10, 15 below and until middle of March, and we would be good.
I agree.
So what you're talking about right there, what you just said, is exactly what my bees do all of our winter. It'll get down, like last few weeks, it was 18, 20, 25 degrees outside, and they're clustered. But then yesterday it was 77 degrees. So now they're brooding and flying and consuming resources. And then guess what? We get 2 days of that, and then it goes right back to lows in the 30s. And like you said, now they're out, spread out, trying to keep brood warm, and it gets down cold, and it just wrecks them.
Yeah,
and it's challenging. I mean, I know everybody always says, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, no matter where you're at, right? Still freaking grass, but everybody will say, "Oh, it's so much easier. If I was down south, I'd have 1,000,000 bees. They'd all be great, and everything would be fine." Right? And down here, we're like, well, if I was up north and I had me a bee building and I could put my bees in all winter long and freeze them until spring, then we would be better off. So,
you just can't win. We sound like farmers.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me. I mean, every year, and I know I've beaten that horse, and I'm going to not say dead horse because I still have colonies, but they just take a beating all winter long. And in those colonies, I think that, this one will be fine. This will make it. This strong enough, right? But then you go back out there and they're gone. Or there's a small, tiny cluster in there, and they're just dead in a cluster sitting there. And there's no good explanation to it. And they've got feed all around them.
I've got 6 frame nukes, and they're stacked 3 on 3 and then back to back. So there's 12 in a bundle. Those guys were flying today. So it's nice to see that there's life in those things after the cold weather anyway, but
right.
Still a long ways to go to get to spring here.
Yeah, you still got 2 months, right? I got about 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 to 3 weeks.
In a good spring, we usually start unwrapping middle to the late of March.
So if we had this weather in March, I'd be telling Bob earlier, I'd be pulling them out of the barn.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I guess, can you hear me now, Bob?
You probably don't have a.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
I've been having trouble getting on. I don't know what's going on. So.
Well, it's sounding good now.
Uh,
So James had a break-in his bee house. How long ago was that now?
Oh, we got to be approaching a month now.
And you're calculating the loss around 32
hives.
32 hives. And this is the door. I see there's a pile inside the door there too.
Yeah, it's about 1.5 inches thick inside the building.
And
that's all over the floor there, from the first row of bees right to the door. So that goes out towards the yard light.
Right where their truck was parked.
You can see where their truck was parked. So there's no way they got out of there scot-free.
They were not happy. So I'm curious. I bet you there is an alluring odor to your bee house there.
Oh, absolutely. Now we swept up. Well, like we spent the time. We've got them all swept up and everything like that now. But yeah, a bit of a mess.
30 colonies represents what, about 10% of your hives?
No, not. Well, there's about what did we say was in there? I think we're down to 130, 132, 138. So, you know.
So it was a chunk
of
them.
Little better than 10%.
It hurts.
Oh, you stop and think, you know, what's a full hive worth up here now? $550, $600.
Yeah.
Times 32.
We lost a whole yard last year with a crop sprayer.
Oh, you know, of which if they would just let you give you a heads up, right?
Well, we knew. We told him if they could spray early in the morning, wouldn't bother us. They sprayed about noon, and our yard, like the drift from those planes, is terrible. The drift probably 200 to 300. Well, we'd be about 300 yards from the field, and that killed the yard.
Oh, it was a crop duster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you stop and think if you know something like that, you average $500 a hive. That's $16,000 loss.
And all the honey too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, once it's sprayed like that, though, you can't reuse that equipment, right? You basically chuck that in the bin and put new equipment out, or no?
It gets the bees that are out flying, mostly.
So you don't have to worry about them coming in and contaminating the comb and all that too much?
No.
Because they never make it back.
You'll see that some of them will get back. You'll have a lot of dead bees laying in the yard.
I've got that and no pesticide.
I lost a small yard to pesticides this past summer too. All of mine was laying dead, or majority of them right at the entrance to the hive, and all their proboscis was sticking out. They was obviously, to me, I was pretty sure it was pesticides from the spray. I'm in a farm community in Southern Illinois.
I've got that new strawberry field 1.25 miles as the crow flies from me, 183 acres of strawberry plants. And this is the first year that, I mean, they had a small patch out there last year, but this is the year that they brought in equipment and it was a golf course. They knocked all the trees down and really are developing it into a full strawberry field there. And 2 years ago, I had bees in a chestnut grove that was about 1/4 mile from another field that they own, and I couldn't get those bees to do anything. It didn't matter how many times I requeened them, how much eggs and larvae to try to let them requeen themselves. They just would not grow. and I'm hoping. I have no way to tell without sending everything out to science, right? I'm hoping that their sprays and everything won't affect the bees, but supposedly by South Carolina law, they're supposed to spray their fungicides and everything at night. But what's that night? 15 minutes before the sun comes up? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they really consider that, but
well, I guess it all kind of depends as to I guess your definition of night. Most places it's 30 minutes after sunset, right?
I wish I could talk them into just, hey, why don't you let me just put bees on this corner over here and you guys just not spray, and let's see how that works for a season. I bet you they would have higher yield of berries. You cough so hard your out.
Our aerial sprayers and the beekeepers have a Facebook page we can go on, and we register our yards so that they know where they are, and then they're supposed to contact you if they're going to be near there at all.
I'm registered with the Department of Agriculture here. However, that would require that the farmer goes to the Department of Agriculture page to check, right? I don't think that they, there's no checks and balances there. I think it's just a list. You're registered and this guy does what he wants to. And I don't think there's anything that mandates them to check that to see what's around them. And I didn't think about it till this discussion, but I had a gentleman that's really near that other strawberry patch down there. And he said he was keeping bees this year and all his colonies died this year. And I wonder if that's due to being in close proximity to that strawberry patch as well.
Is Sam closer to him or farther away?
Sam is further away from him.
Okay.
So I'm 1.25 miles from him by the crow flies, and as he's like 4.2 miles. So he's just out of the range there.
I sent you another email there, Bob. That's of what the other side of the barn of the hives look like.
Oh, wait, is that the same pictures I just got there? Hold on. Oh, there it is. Hive today. All right. So present.
I wish they all looked like this.
Let me open the picture up. That'd be good. There's too many buttons to click to share something. Filled right up.
So they're still looking all right, those ones. Now, imagine at this time of the year, so early January, losing 32 hives that look like that.
Now that's not right across the whole bottom, is it?
No, that's pretty much across the whole bottom, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, they still look pretty much full strength then.
They look pretty darn good. We did scoop up. Oh, I don't know. We got one of those great big huge dust pans up here from Princess Auto, those big aluminum ones, and I don't know, we must have had 5 or 6 heaping ones of those that we swept up again today, in the last week.
So your snowblower is converted to a bee blower.
Yeah, well, actually it did, because we got that little bit of snow and I forgot that those bees were there. So I went and blew the snow the one time that I fired it up out here, and into the snow I went, and I was like, why is what's all that black stuff? Well, it was all the bees that were in the snow ended up getting blown all over the top.
Blowing them all over the place.
The birds were really happy that day.
Now you got to get chickens to put them out there so they can come pluck up all the dead bees.
So
JW, you got snow right now where you're at?
We got a foot of snow.
You got a foot of snow, Doug? What's your snow look like, James? How deep?
We haven't had a foot of snow all winter. I think we're down to, if I walked out there right now, we might have 3-4 inches, maybe.
That's what she said.
Got about that much rain. It's wet. It's really wet here.
Well, I was talking to another buddy of mine. He was coming back. He was skiing there just in the mountains today. And he was saying he tapped out at about half a day of skiing because the snow was so wet that they had got. So in the last few days, I guess they got about a foot of snow up in the mountains, but it was so wet that if your tip of your ski fell through, you stopped. You just instantly stopped right there, and you would do an end over type thing. So usually you go skiing, you're spending 6-8 hours on the hill, and he was done after just a couple hours. So it's crazy. We're losing the snowpack even in the mountains. So I don't know what that's going to mean for this year.
Now, you guys you've seen snow in like April though, right? I mean, it'll still snow that late in the year.
Oh, yeah, I've seen snow in July.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, May long weekend.
Oh, May long weekend's a famous one. Usually we get more times than not we get snow the May long weekend.
That's
we had about a foot of snow earlier on in December that we lost.
Oh, yeah. From what I understand, it was like +8 here on Wednesday down in Miami there. So in Manitoba, so that's something. What you reading, Bob? You look pretty.
Reading some of the comments there. I'm just seeing Lee was at the gym climbing the wall in the gym today, so his arms are numb.
Oh, no doubt.
From climbing. JW, I got that order through. I appreciate it. It just came through as I was starting up, so I'll get that out to you Monday morning.
I'm going to have an immediate use for it, but I wanted to get some, try it.
Well, people have been pretty successful with it. I always think it's funny that it doesn't, and I tell this to everybody, all that's to do is to help them find the trap, right?
Sure.
And some people think, oh, you spray a swarm lure in there, guaranteed you're going to catch a swarm. There's so much that goes into it more than that. But it's just something to get them to find it out. And then depending on your box size and everything else is really what determines if they like it and if it's what they want. Right. So,
yeah. Hey, question for you, Bob. You watched my video there this morning, did you?
Yep.
How was the sound?
Sounded great to me.
Okay, so let's say I used those mics that my daughter bought me for Christmas. So
yeah, it sounded really good.
How it turned out. So that's good to hear. I'm thinking about doing that. I've got that box that you duplicated. How do I know it's the same box that I duplicated? Because I'm the guy he found out. He's reverse engineered my box. Yeah, and you're not sure what size the box is. You phone up your buddy and say, "Hey, what size is that box?" He says, "I don't know, but here's the numbers off of it."
Yep.
So, but well, there was lots of people. I've got lots of messages off that video this morning. So, everybody's talking about temperature overshoot and everything, and it does. So it will overshoot the temperature. But I don't know if you guys know what a magic bag is.
A magic bag?
So it's something that we have up here in Canada. It's basically it's a cloth bag that is, believe it or not, it's filled with wheat. And you can throw it in the microwave or you can throw it in the freezer, and that wheat will hold the heat or hold the cold. So I was out today at a buddy's place, and I went over to his wheat bin and grabbed myself a big bag of wheat. And what I did last year is if you sew up for all intents and purposes, a heat sink, you put that over top of the element. It does two things. One, it provides some weight so that box won't tip backwards. But two, what it does is it evenly distributes the heat out, across underneath those
radiates it
cells, and it holds the heat for about 30 to 45 minutes. So it slowly cools down, but it takes that overshoot right out of it. It acts as a heat sink. So even though you unplug it, you have lots of time, as long as you don't leave the lid open. You have lots of time to get the cells and all the nukes, and it still stays. It'll only drop 2-3 degrees. So I picked that up today. I'll sew that up tomorrow, and I'll get that update out to everybody so they can see what I did there.
Well, James, you just need to give me a job offer so I can migrate to Canada.
Yeah,
Canada has some. Canada is much stricter on their migration. I've looked the migration policies that for a family of 2, you have to have about $12,000 in the bank that you can prove to the Canadian government that you have enough money to live on while you're getting started. You also have to have a job offer from a company saying you've got somewhere to work, that you're not going to be basically, living with 7 other people in a single wide like they do here.
We'll just bring you up under the
seasonal worker permit,
the seasonal bee worker program. And the other way too is if you show up at the border and you say, I'm a liberal, they'll probably say, come on in. Just promise to vote for me. I shouldn't say that, but anyways, that's how it seems sometimes.
Well, it's the same here too, Jim. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So,
I went into a store today, and they had this huge local honey display. And of course, I'm going to stop and start looking at the bottles. Now, what I will say about this grocery store chain is they were selling their local honey for the same amount that I sell my local honey for. Actually, a little bit higher. Like a pint was $16 compared to $15.
Which would probably be great if it was local honey, but I'm going to guess it wasn't.
Exactly. It was, sorry, North Carolinians, it was North Carolina honey, and it was being sold as local honey in South Carolina. That's a whole state away.
I run into that here all the time at the markets and stuff. So,
and what they put on it, they had a sign up there that said, this honey can be traced to our yards in North Carolina and South Carolina. So, but the consumer can't trace it, right? Is it all just blended together? Probably. So I don't know how that works. It's local to the USA, right?
Yeah, I get that all the time up here. They'll be here from southern BC, and they'll be selling it at the night markets and stuff as all local honey. And I'm like, well, I guess that depends what you consider local.
Right.
I get a kick out of it all the time because I'll go by and just me. I love to talk, right? So I'll go up and I'll start talking with them. And what does this say?
It says, hey, James, I have 30 hives inside and could easily put some outside for the next couple of forecasted warm days for cleansing flights. You think there is any benefit in doing that?
I wouldn't do that. No.
Where is he from?
Oh, I don't know. Where are you located, Ryan?
If he's in South Carolina, I'd say yes.
Yeah, if you're anywhere in Canada, I wouldn't. You're going to disturb. To give you an idea, the time that we spent just inside the bee barn today, he's in Alberta. So yeah, I would leave them right where they are, Ryan. The time that I spent inside the bee barn today, whether it was from our breath or the movement or the sound, and keep in mind it was 5 degrees, so we were opening up the fans and stuff like that. We had them all plugged up and everything because of the cold. But just that time we were in there, they were pouring out around the hives and crawling over the front of the hives. So we got out of there pretty quickly. We didn't want to disturb them. So moving them out for a cleansing flight, I mean, that's completely, totally up to you. I wouldn't touch them.
I wouldn't either.
So I'd leave them right where they are. But anyways, back to my story. So yeah, these night markets, I'll go around, I'll start talking to these beekeepers and asking them about their honey. And of course, they're like any other beekeeper. I do the exact same thing. It's, you're
striking up a conversation.
Exactly. Tell people about your honey, right? And then it's like, oh, local honey. And I says, where are you from? Oh, well, we're from, Cranbrook or somewhere down in southern BC. And I says, well, how's that local? And I says, how would that benefit me? Oh, it's, it's this, that, the other thing. And then I says, maybe stop on over. I says, I'll show you at my table over here. I says, what a local honey is actually like. And they're like,
I like that. I mean, I get it all the time. They pull right up in my yard, like when I have the table out there, and they'll say,
yeah.
Well, how local is it? I said,
yeah, right there.
Right there.
I always, regardless, and this is just me, regardless as to what market I'm at, if somebody is selling honey, I will buy a container of honey. Do I need honey? No, I got lots of honey, but I'll buy a container of honey because I want to see what it tastes like. I want to see the texture. I'm just curious about it. So I will always buy a container of honey. So
We don't
You
do
know, I sell all my honey locally right here at my farm on an honor system. And I'm in the rural area in southern Illinois, but I just got a sign down on the highway, which is 1.5 miles from my place.
Yep.
And they come up there, and I've got it sitting out there on the table, and I've got a can there with a box on it with some change in it. I've never been beat out of a penny yet. So.
Well, you know what? And the rural
that says something about your people.
I was
my
say
people.
The rural people are usually the best. They will, those are the people. You never have to worry about, if you hit the ditch or something in the country, you never have to worry about it. Go knock on the door, and I guarantee you somebody's going to help you get out of the ditch. Or if you got a flat tire, somebody's going to, help you change it or give you a pump or now they might laugh at you as they do it, but I mean, how the hell did you end up in there? But you'll always get out.
I pulled out a many out in my area because I'm not too far from a local town, and all the kids come out, especially during mudding season, with their Jeeps and stuff, and bury them in your fields. And
hey, that's one of the things that's probably the hurt us the most up here, because I am an avid hunter.
Yeah.
And being born and raised on the farm and everything like that up here, we always were taught, use respect. So for the longest time, you knew your neighbors and you knew what you could do. You'd go walking in, and if you did shoot something in there, you would phone them or stop by the house and say, what, I'm going to go get my deer, or I'm going to go get my elk or something. And they're like, all right, stick to the edge of the field. But now what ends up happening is they go out there and they rut it all up, or they rip it all up, or maybe it's planted down to winter wheat or something, and they're destroying crops, and the ruts are breaking axles on your equipment and stuff now. And it's got to the point where everything's now posted, and I have a hard time with that. I'm a little bit old fashioned when it comes to that.
about the same thing here, James.
So,
Yeah. Don't freeze. Do not freeze. Keep at room temperature. It's that's one of the reasons why it was developed the way it was, because specifically for dancing bee, like these bullets, they were buying Man Lake's single their little their little vial lures that Man Lake had, but they had to freeze them all winter long, which took up a whole bunch of space. So when I designed these, it was specifically to stop them from having to put them in a freezer. So when you freeze these, it does just the opposite. It expands because it's got some H2O in it, right?
There you go.
So
yeah, Lisa, exactly. People will give you a ride home. They'll do whatever they have to. So evening, Carl. Evening, Charlie.
Hey guys.
good to see you, Charlie.
Good evening.
Charlie had the 3-hour stream last night.
And then some. And then
some.
some.
Yeah. I was going to say I was going to pop in there, except the last night the wife and I were watching a movie, so that took precedence. I did watch a little bit there, comment a little bit, but Yeah, that was pretty much it. So here's something I did today. You know, the weather's been so nice up here. I actually fired my bike up today. Now, I didn't take it for a ride, but it's supposed to be, you know, kind of like Doug was saying there. It's supposed to be, you know, +8, +9. In fact, I think Monday or Tuesday they're forecasting double digits. And the city just plowed all the ice off my street. So if that melts, I'm going to jump on my bike. And this is probably going to be the first time ever in history anybody can say they rode their motorbike, you know, for 12 months straight in Grand Prairie, Alberta.
Well, you say +8, that's 46 degrees.
Yeah, well, exactly. +8, +10.
It was yesterday, it was 22 C.
So
You may be one of those that the farmers are pulling out of a snowbank on that.
And today,
Be looking up some poor old farmer saying, "Come, you pull me home."
well, my bike's pretty heavy. It's like 840 pounds. So if I, you know, if that thing hits the ditch, yeah, I'm gonna need some help.
Well, I blew a bunch of snow out of the yard down there so the deer could come in and feed.
No, well, actually, I don't know if you saw my video. So I took the drone out and I flew the drone over the apiaries there just before I did that. And yeah, I don't know if it was because, well, where that one apiary of mine is, it's an old cattle pasture. So it's grown in, you know, probably 15, 20 years of grass that had grown up and they would die, grow up and die. Except where the bees are, I've mowed that right back down. So that grass is really green shoots. So they pretty much destroyed the electric fence because, of course, there was no electricity in it. But they've pawed up that whole apiary, and they've been eating all the green shoots that are coming up from underneath there. So they're probably thinking this is a great place.
Well, I've got a lot of wild turkeys on the move in my area now. I seen, believe it or not, 47 in one bunch yesterday and 63 in a different field, another bunch today.
It's always like that when it's not turkey season. If it's turkey season, you can't find them nowhere.
Yeah, we don't have turkeys up here where I'm at. We have them in southern Alberta, but we don't have them up here where I'm at. So,
Carl, how you doing?
Doing good. The turkeys in Pennsylvania are going crazy. I mean, they're all over the damn place. We should ship some up there to Canada.
Yeah.
They get stopped at the border.
Yeah, well, we'll fly them over.
They don't buy American turkeys.
Well, unless they're liberal American turkeys.
Yeah.
Put name tags on them.
Yeah.
Hi,
my name is Justin.
They stalked a bunch of
Justin
wild turkeys
Castro.
here a few years ago, but they roost up high in the trees, and the bloody horned owls would clean them out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and all they would do is pick the brain out of the bird. And the rest of the bird would pretty well lay there useless.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, turkeys hate owls. You know, they just absolutely hate them.
Yeah.
Well, they release fishers here in Pennsylvania.
Oh, we got no shortage of them up here.
Yeah, that's the thing is they're very good at hunting down the turkeys because the turkeys will be up on the roost and the fisher will just take them right out on the roost, from what I understand. So
yeah, we got lots of fisher, lots of martin, lots of mink, quite a few otters. You know,
that's probably why you're not seeing much of them, actually.
So what's a fisher?
It's a cat that can run on limbs.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I never heard of
it. It's a large. You know what a mink is, Charlie?
I thought a mink was like a ground animal or something.
Well, no. So
That's kind of like a weasel, Charlie. Yeah. You know what weasels are around the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, mink is a larger weasel.
Yeah, I was going to say about times 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are they, James? What are they? About 45 pounds?
Yeah, Bob, pull up a picture of a fisher if you can. So
I'd have to say they go 40, 50 pounds.
Well, they're not quite that big, but
well, it's like owl. You know, you don't see no owls around here that I know of. Of course, they're nocturnal, but
daughter-in-law had a real commotion on the deck a couple of years ago. A big fisher killed a cat and started to feed on it right on the deck.
Yeah. Well,
Big-
actually,
big cat, no problem.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. That's more like a mink, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, but it's about 5 or 6 or 8 times the size of a mink. Yep.
Yeah, what are they, about 3 foot long, 3.5 foot
Yeah.
long?
Oh, yes. On the stretcher board, they're longer than that.
Yeah.
Their hides are pretty valuable, aren't they? If people that trap.
They used to.
It says males are generally up to 12 pounds and 36 to 40 inches in length. Females are smaller,
they're
up to
pretty
8
long.
pounds, 30 to 36.
A lot lighter than I thought.
Yeah, but
Bite
you know
you
what?
in
You're not as a dumb kid. Many years ago. So my brother and I trapped for years. In fact, I bought my first vehicle by trapping. But we had a marten in the trap, and we were out of 22 shells. Don't ask me why, but it's like, oh, no problem. You know what? We'll pin this guy down with a log, and I'll strangle him. Right? Well, guess what?
I just imagine Jim Carrey or
Yeah.
Jim Carrey or what was the big guy from California that played Elf? That Will Ferrell when the
yeah.
when the raccoon jumps out of the tree at him.
You can't. Like
Hey, Mr. Raccoon.
my hands were absolutely, they are so muscular. Like I can't explain them. Like they are just all raw muscle. They are a strong, powerful animal.
James, I had a similar experience. I trapped, when I was younger with a badger. I had, you guys know what a hog catcher is?
Oh, yes.
Loop through the end of them. I caught one, and they were protected in Illinois at that time, and I called the game warden, and I had the hog catcher on this badger, and I told the game warden to come and release him, and we couldn't get him released. I couldn't get him choked down where he could get him out of the trap. Pretty soon the game warden shot the badger with the time. He said, "You catch another one of them suckers, don't call me." So I tried to choke him down with a hog catcher, and I could not get the job done.
No. Yeah, we got quite a few badgers up here.
Yeah, they're the same way. They just roll that neck and go at you. You get them, think you got them about choked down, they'll roll that neck and go again.
Yeah, and then we got lots of wolverine. Now, if you want to see an animal that is ticked off from the morning or from the minute it wakes up until the minute it goes to sleep, and then it wakes up tomorrow even worse, that's a wolverine. Man, they are just one.
I think their definition for a wolverine, if I remember correctly, is small, ferocious animal.
Oh, like
I think that's the definition, actually.
They are just a mean and a powerful. Everybody knows what a grizzly bear is, right?
Oh yeah.
A grizzly bear will not tangle with a wolverine.
Yeah, they claim the wolverines will actually run them off. I've seen pictures on.
I've actually watched there was a grizzly bear that had dug a black bear out of the den, and it had killed the black bear, and this wolverine run the grizzly off. it was just like could have been one of these, but no, they were like and you can hear them 200 yards away. They're just nasty.
We don't have them down here. That's one good thing.
Hey, has anyone seen Alex lately?
Nope.
Haven't seen him on any chats or anything.
Well, I kind of thought I would see some kind of a response from him because he wanted that queen cell carrier there quite a bit. So but I haven't seen nothing on him there.
I haven't seen anything for sale.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I hope he's okay too. Haven't seen him.
He didn't get mad because he was getting picked on a little bit that one night. I know.
Oh, I don't.
But I think he was back on after that.
Hey, Charlie, Joey had his hive lifter out today for demonstration. Did you?
Yeah, I watched the video.
Have you ordered yours yet, Charlie?
Yeah, actually, I did.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, Now they won't have anything to talk about or tease you about, Charlie.
Oh yes, there is.
Signal Hive.
Actually, you know what? I will admit I'm a little disappointed. I think I was laid up when we got the Dancing Charlie meme. I missed out on that one. So
Lee's got it somewhere.
I
see
wish
what
I
Lee
could
put
get
up?
hold of it because I'll just
He can
froze
get the
over.
job done. I seen him on YouTube.
No, I always if I could get my hands on that, I would like not Rickroll, I'd Charlie roll somebody in the middle of one of my videos or something.
That's funny.
All I gotta say is Charlie did so much research on it. I hope to God you don't get a lemon.
Yeah.
He won't be. He will not be disappointed.
I sat. How long did we talk, James? For an hour and a half.
Yeah, something like that night. Yeah.
I called Alberta, talked to him for an hour and a half about that. But now I went ahead and I emailed Boris, and he got right back to me within 20 minutes or so, and that kind of thing. And I went ahead and told him I would. He wanted what I wanted, pallet forks like James, and I said no. So told him I would go through the website and order it and pay for it and all that. So it's done.
Did he give you an estimated time of delivery on it?
No. I think the website's at least 3 weeks.
No, I never looked. Are they pricey or? I mean,
$1,400.
That's not real bad.
Yeah, well, with shipping,
Save your back.
With shipping, $1,600.
Yeah, you can't replace a back.
Nope.
No, not ever, right? So
Does it come with a popcorn cup?
Popcorn cup. For $1,600, they should have a popcorn maker on it. Just continuously blows popcorn out the back for you.
Mm.
Is that Canadian dollars or US, Charlie?
That's US.
Closed the wrong window.
I was surprised. It was like $250 for shipping, and I'm like, with the way things are today, is that current? And I asked him, whether the prices were current, and he said, yeah. I said, all right.
Well, what I found is when I expedite shipping to Canada, all it does is expedite shipping to customs, and then they take their time doing whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Brian, I don't know when I'm getting it. It'll come. He would email me when he ships it. I told him I wanted the 24-inch wide axles like you got. It looked like to me, even though I'm not lifting a 2-way pallet, it's going to be more stable this way.
Absolutely is.
And all that.
Yeah, absolutely is.
So,
You will.
I watched Joey today with that one of his, and his did a nice job. And I could see that he had a piece of coroplast sticking out the back, and he had to take his foot and bend that down and to get that machine close enough in order to grab those V boxes. And I think the way mine's developed, it has more of a reach to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know more about it than I do, but
the only thing I could tell you is when it first comes, take the time to set it up properly. There's a nut that will allow the flaps that catch your handles. Take the time to adjust that nut and set it all up properly when you get it, and you won't be disappointed at all.
I like mine real well, but it's a different model. It's a John Deere.
I got a New Holland one coming in Wednesday.
There you go.
You'll probably use it more than you will that cart then if you get them bolts put in right on it, Charlie.
Yeah, but it's a little bit big with the cab.
There you go. What else is going on? Alan and I picked up some of the equipment, so I got the back of my truck full of that equipment that we picked up down in Mississippi. So we're going to start tearing into that probably tomorrow afternoon. And we're going through it. We just brought the auger and the honey pump in. We'll get those ones taken apart and looked at first. Those are probably the ones, if anything, especially with the honey pump, if I got to order parts, that's probably be the hardest one to get. So we'll get in that one and we'll get that taken care of, and then we'll start on the rest.
Is it a gear pump, James?
Low pump. So
It looks like yours, I think, Doug. Some kind of a compression pump or something.
At least that's what he told me. I haven't opened it up yet, so stay tuned. I'll let you know. So
you gonna regasket the pump and everything right out of the gate?
I'm gonna go right straight through it all, just like I typically do. I'm gonna rip it right down, and I'm going to make sure that it is going to be 100% what I want it.
Now, was that line functional when you bought it, James?
I'm sorry?
Was that line functional when you bought it?
Well, interesting enough, so the young guy I bought it off of had never used it. So he had purchased it, I don't know how much earlier, but he was still making payments on the line. And he had never used it. Now, he had every intention of using it, but I think he only had like 4 or 5 hives. So a 120 frame line like that, 4 or 5 hives, you're not even going to fill up the pump and the bottom and everything. So it was too big for him. So he had never used it, but it was functional from the guy that he bought it from. And then before we picked it up, it was all plugged in. We confirmed all the operations. The motors all ran good. Everything was good. It just needs a real good cleaning. And the paint that was on it, he showed me the paint. In fact, I took a picture of the paint can. It's an oil-based paint, so that all has to come off. And let's just say it was old paint. So just to be on the safe side, I want to make sure it meets the CFI requirements. We're gonna strip it all down. We're going to get all that steam cleaned. We're going to get it all sandblasted and powder coated with a food safe powder coating. Then I'll never have to worry about it. Now on the outside, it can be paint. That make and model can be paint. Everything that would touch the honey is stainless steel, but we're going to go through and we're going to clean all that up really good and everything too. So
you're planning on using it, so
absolutely, we want to make sure that it works good. Now the good thing is we were counting parts out there today, and it looks like we got 2 full Silver Queen uncappers plus some spare parts. So that was good. So and
you gonna powder coat it?
I don't think we're going to use the Silver Queens. We're going to use the uncapper that we rebuilt last year. I mean, I know exactly what that is.
That's the Queen line that you rebuilt last year, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, and Silver Queen is by Man Lake, or
no? Silver Queen is by Cowan as well, but it's kind of like yours, Bob. It just has the chutes that go down on an angle,
right?
And the reason we're going to use the old timer, it has the arms out there that feed it in, so I can put the unboxer, which we got to build. So I'm going to build an unboxer so it'll go on the end, and then we can just slide those right in. So at any given time, it will continually feed it in without any issues or problems.
So you have 2 Queen lines,
two complete
Silver Queens.
Silver Queens, yep. Plus some spare parts.
That'd be a drive to come buy one of those from you.
So, it's not that far from Manitoba. It's only 18 hours from Winnipeg.
Yeah, but I'm not driving there.
They have rental cars. What's the problem?
We'll strap it to the back of the Prius. They'll rent me.
A little winter driving will
exactly
skills.
Right up, right?
I tell you what, I would drive it though. I'm not scared. We talked about it a few times, but had some developments at work, so we'll see how that shakes out there. The work is talking about promoting me, so we'll see how that comes out.
They must like you, Bob. They're doing a whole lot to keep you.
Well, yeah. So they got they got a contract with the local university, which is going to require more technicians to work the jobs, right? And so they're going to be hiring a supervisor to supervise the service department. So that is the position that they're considering me for, which it's like every other company I've ever worked for. If they come to you before they've even announced the position is happening, then you pretty much got the job if you want it, you know? So we'll see what it looks like on paper.
There you go.
My bee business plan for this year is the same bee business plan it was in 2023. Fill the boxes, right? Fill them up. And to do that, hopefully out of my own stock without having to purchase any bees for expansion. I don't know. I wish I had the answers, right? I've racked my brain. James has racked his brain. Brad, Ian, everybody. And the problem is we're all in different geographic locations. So to explain what happens here and to show it, it's a little bit hard to see from a distance, right? Where just the constant fluctuations of temperatures just brutalizes my my hives. So right now I think I'm in the 20 range, 20, and I just did a brief count, so I'm probably 23, 24 colonies out there right now. So like I said, I wasn't really joking. I was joking, but I wasn't really joking about working my way to 17, because 17 seems to be the sweet spot.
You end up to 17, Bob, and I'm going to drive down there and give you one of these and two of these.
But you know what? There's a difference between this 17 and last year's 17. Last year's 17, I didn't know what I had. This 17, if it gets to that point, hopefully it don't, but if it does, I know what I'm working with, right? I know the age of my queens. I know that there's a possibility that it was something I did with my grafting or something like that, you know. So there's definitely things to improve upon, and that's going to be just continue to hone my beekeeping skills and try to keep them alive. That's the big thing here, is just the struggle. I don't know that we have an overabundance of plants. You know, I don't have a magic basswood tree, so I don't have that necessarily one thing I can point to and say, oh yeah, this is where they get the honey from, right? It's just a bunch of stuff. So,
I just have to assume my bees are getting the honey from the, 3 or 4,000 acres of canola that they're sitting beside.
Yeah, that's not a very hard question, right? But we got
That's
the privet and stuff that starts to bloom here, the trees, in the next couple of months, and I know they get on that pretty well. So
Bob, you've got pollen coming in, Bob. You should be pouring the syrup to them right now.
I've got very little pollen coming in.
Yeah, but you're giving them pollen patties.
Yeah, now I've got pollen patty on it. So, and we talked about this just before the stream.
Yeah, I'm pouring the syrup to them.
That we're going to start putting the syrup to them.
So Bob, with what we were talking about, I was talking about on there that talking about was with you having the wide temperature fluctuations. Would it be? I know you don't get the severe cold, but if you put the insulation on to make it so that the inside the hive the temperature wouldn't swing as bad, you think that would help?
Well, I mean, I've got some insulated hives, and 50% of my insulated hives made it, and 50% didn't. So
that don't answer much.
Yeah. So I mean, if they all made it, I'd be like, oh yeah, insulation's the way to go. But now it's like, I could just flip a coin, and either way,
right.
you know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we've got Doug kind of knows a little bit of what I'm up to here, but the heaters are set up in the bee barn, and pollen patties are on, or going on. The syrup is mixed up in the garage, so I'm going to see if I can't convince them to brood up in the barn. So I got 2 hives there that I'm going to use as a test. So Alan and I were looking at that, and we're gonna see what's required. And like I was telling Doug, and I think who was on there? I think Brad was on, or
Yeah, I think it's Brad.
But I said, this is what happens when you get a beekeeper, in northern Alberta that's bored in the middle of winter. He's got to play.
You can always fly down here and put these boxes together I've been neglecting.
Oh, yeah, because I don't have any of my own to do.
So,
It looked like that. I seen Brad's video today, and looks like he lost quite a few hives there in the shed.
Yeah, he won't be sleeping in it real easy, will he?
yeah, he's worried about it, but the flip side of that coin is, what can you do? You can't do anything up there right now, right? I mean, you're just kind of stuck. Same situation I'm in at the moment.
Well, we had 50 degrees the other day, and all the bees were flying, and my little four hive apiary, all 4 of them have activity going in and out of them. So they've made it so far through the winter.
Oh, I had boxes that had activity going in and out of them. They just had no colony living in them. They had robber bees going in and out, getting the stores out of it. I got a text message today from somebody, and he sent me a picture of his landing board. He says, "What is this? I've had 5 abscons in the last week." And to me, it just looks like they were robbed out, because it has, like, the crumbles that when it gets robbed out, all the remnants that fall down, and they're like all over the landing board and everything.
All the cappings and stuff. Yeah.
Cappings, remnants of pollen that they've tried to get out of the cells or whatever, is what it looked like to me. But not looking at the colony, I can't diagnose it for them what it is, right? So I'm like, well, did you treat for mites? Well, yes. Okay, well, what did you treat for mites with? Well, I just used the tablet. And I'll say it again, because we got 57 people on here. Do not treat your colonies like you normally would because you put an Appy tablet in there.
Well, the tablet's a supplement, right?
It's a supplement. and it does have some good effects on some of those critters in there. But, a lot of times I think we get a little overconfident when people say stuff like, "Oh, well, all these bees were bred for mite resistance, and they picked the mites off of each other." That's what my mentor told me when he sold me the stuff. And what you end up with is 5 dead colonies. There are 5 colonies that are just gone, and you can't put your finger on why they're gone, because you don't know if it was a high stress level from mites or, some beetles or whatever. So there's so much to go into it. I try not, and Charlie's the perfect example. Charlie doesn't just treat with one treatment. He treats with like 3 treatments, 3 different types of treatments.
I put my finger exactly why the bees are gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's on the beekeeper.
And I said that, was it last night? Or no, it must have been Friday night when Brad was on. And we were talking about my bees. And I said, the only common denominator of everything in my yard is me, right? It's my fault. If they've died, it's my fault. It doesn't matter at the end of the day if it died from mites or they died from beetles or they died from whatever. That's my job, right? My job is to figure that out and make it better for them.
But this goes, Phil got it there in the chat. They were sold to him. I keep saying it's buyer beware. Buyer beware what you're buying, right? So make sure it's from a reputable beekeeper.
I was watching a Varroa mite. I don't know. Somebody made a video. I guess it was going to some bee club that they posted, and they were talking about the what is it called? Efficacy of amitraz, which is the ingredient for Apivar.
Mhm.
And they were talking about, one hive hardly had any mites in it, and the next one was loaded, and all this different stuff. And the guy kept talking, and it was, to me, I kept picking up this same repetitive message in there. It's like, well, these had a lot of high mites, and it dropped it down here, and it's like, there's your problem. Apivar is not a high mite load killer. You use oxalic acid to knock them down. It's to take, sort of maintain the Varroa mite load at a certain low level. And that's what I try to do. As soon as my supers are off, I'm treating multiple products, depending on what time of the year it is, to maintain a very low mite load throughout the year, so they can survive and thrive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what most people do. They want to treat one time. They've already told you should be treating multiple times. And actually, the big thing in that video was you're supposed to switch it up with different products. And yes,
I was just going to say
different products, but you need to be. They've been talking multiple treatments per year.
Yeah, but you touched on something there that I think is key, Charlie. Multiple products. If you always treat with the same product in the same way, you're going to end up with mite or resistance, mites that are resistant to that treatment, which is the last thing we want out there as beekeepers. We do not want a strain of mites out there that is, that is resistant to amitraz, right? That would be devastating, and I think that may have been why the Apivar strips for 1 year might. I don't know if anybody knows exactly sure whether it was their impregnation of the plastic strips or exactly what it was, but it could have been something as simple as that too. So I will never like, if I treat with one product in the spring, I will treat with a different one in the fall, and then a different one again in the spring, and then a different one again in the fall, and I try to mix it up. Now I've got a lot of learning to do when it comes to Formic Pro or formic acid and stuff like that. I've tried that with not very good success, but I think I'm the reason it wasn't a very good success, and I need to learn a little bit more about that.
The thing with that is it says you can treat up to 85 degrees. I say don't treat no higher than 80. If you can get it between 75 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit and low humidity.
But don't they say that's only for like the first 3 days?
About the first 4 days.
4 days.
Yeah, that's a potent time, and then it diminishes afterwards. But
so, I think, like I said, I think it was me. So, it's find a regiment that works for you and then stick with it. I mean, Charlie, you and I have talked about it. We each have very different mite regiments and a mite treatment program. So I think it's key that you develop a program and you use that program, whether you write it down on paper or something like that. As long as you've got a regiment that you follow, I think that's the key part.
Well, it's like where Bob is. He's got humidity. Lee's got humidity. But do you have humidity now? And you're saying it's 70 degrees.
It was 98% humidity yesterday.
Really? You still have humidity at that time?
Yep.
But how hot was it? How hot was it?
77. But it had been raining for the 3 days previous to that as well.
That's what it is right here, right now. It's still 4 degrees Celsius out there right now. It's 9:21, and with the AC and everything going in the barn.
4 degrees Celsius is basically 40 degrees, let's say.
Yeah, I just looked. My humidity is 97 here
right
now, and I'm southeast of Illinois, Charlie.
That's outside.
You're in Illinois,
90% humidity right now.
Got 90.
Now is that 90% humidity, as in it's sticky and yucky feeling.
Relative humidity. So because the humidity might seem a little bit high, but with 4 degrees Celsius, there's not a lot of moisture in the air at that. So
where we differ here too, Charlie, we got 4.5 months where we can't treat, we can't do anything.
Because of honey supers?
No, because minus temperatures.
Right.
From about the middle of November to the end of March.
And see, Doug, that's where I think those tablets.
Yeah.
If you watched Brad's video today, at one point he opens up 4 colonies, and the 2 that he had the tablets, he only opened 4 up, so
yeah,
it's not the full sample, right? But he said the 2 that had the tablets on looked much better than the other 2. So, the fact that they're kind of chewing on that as a sugar brick during the winter may be a beneficial thing.
Was there still some of the tablet in there? I haven't.
I couldn't tell from the video because it was dark in there. Okay. So we'll have to ask him next time he comes on.
I was going to say, I didn't get a chance to watch Brad's video because that'll be tomorrow morning. I'm on call this weekend, so I'm in at the mill bright and early here. So I lose my my Saturday and Sunday YouTube time.
Speaking of treatments, I assume you all did, but did you see the little video that Ian put out this morning? I think it was about the loss of efficiency, or where he was testing the oxalic acid, shooting it into the bag and then weighing it. What was?
Yep.
Do you think? What's your opinion on that? Do you think you're losing that much? That was at least a third. If he's using 4-pound releases,
4
gram releases, and getting 2 pound of treatment out of it, do you think that's applicable, or what was your?
Well, I think there was some other things that Ian pointed out there very, very good, and one was the time at which it stayed a vapor. So yeah, I think that was 20 minutes. I think he said. I'd have to go back.
Yeah, it was.
But I think what's happening. So I've never timed mine, but what I'll do is I've got cloths. I don't know what I got, 12 or 15 cloths that I use to block them in. So I'll block them in, and I'll go and I'll do another 12 or 15 hives. So, by the time I get down to the end, then I come back and I pull the first rag and I treat another hive, pull a rag and treat a hive. So, I'm probably blocking them in for at least 15 to 20 minutes. So I was happy to see that that was still a vapor 20 minutes later, because I've had very, very good success with oxalic acid. And maybe that's why I've never done the testing like Ian was doing. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, I use Amatraz or Apivar in the spring. And I use Apigard in the fall. And during the winter months here, if I get a nice day, I treat every month with oxalic acid. I've got an Instavat from Robbie's, but that's my protocol.
See, and I use oxalic acid a little bit different. So I will treat a minimum of 3, usually 4 or 5 times, every 7 days with oxalic acid.
Yep.
I hit them, and I hit them hard. And the reason I do that is I try to treat them every 7 days, because I have a full-time job, so I can get out there every weekend. But I'll hit them every 7 days, and that should, over a 3 to 4, I should get a complete brood cycle. So,
I do that twice a year, spring, and usually about August or September is when I hit them hard, after the flow. So
we try to do a real late treatment when there isn't any brood with the acid.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing we try to do.
Yeah, I do mine late in the fall. So
I do
usually as late as I can before they start to cluster up, and as close as I can to putting them in the barn.
Yeah. And you can compensate for loss by using a bigger dosage too.
Correct.
I do. I don't short the dosages any.
Yeah, I went through pounds and pounds and pounds of oxalic acid this year. So
yeah. We will do 6 ounces at a time.
Yeah, I think I'm around I'm right around 4, just a little over 4. And like I said, every 7 days. So rain, snow, or shine. I mean, I was out there in the rain doing oxalic acid treatments. Alan actually has got video of it. I'm just in the midst of doing a 2023 year in review video. And, you come across these things where you're, oh, yeah, I remember out there doing that in the pouring rain, soaking wet. But, this is what you got to do. It's just, you're looking after, a livestock, and it's what's going to make you the money. So you're going to have to get wet, sometimes if that's when it needs to be done. So you just get out there and you get it done.
I've been a livestock man all my life, so I'm used to being out there in the mud.
Trying to pull up the comments here again.
Well, on a little different subject, the lady that bought the two jars of creamed honey on New Year's Eve bought 2 more last night.
She's been out, right?
Yeah.
It's catching on, isn't it?
It seems to be. I mean, it's a slow, but there's people that have gotten it. They're kind of spreading the word around. So,
yeah, I think you'll find I probably sell 1 to 1. Probably for every liquid honey I sell, probably a creamed honey for sure. Might even be more creamed honey than liquid. I should go back and take a look at the numbers.
We're about 3 to 1 now.
3 cream to 1 liquid?
Yep.
I'm 2 to 1 about.
As more and more people come to the cream.
My flavored honeys, I can't make it quick enough. In fact, Alan, his sister owns a restaurant. So she had one of these old, I think it was Hobart, big, heavy duty, kitchen mixers. So now it's got a sacrificial brass gear inside there that he pulled the top off, and they stopped using it, threw it out because it quit working. So he looked up, and for $100 we can buy this gear, and she's like, well, if you guys want to fix it, it's yours, have it. So we're going to have this big commercial mixer here to get set up. So that's going to help out.
Well, I've never creamed it, fellas. You creaming experts, enlighten me on the starter. What do you have to go through to get the starter?
So if you have access, you can buy it at the store. But if you don't have access to it down there, get yourself a chemists use them or pharmacies use them. A mortar and pestle, or you could order it off of eBay or Amazon, and just take some of your own honey that is crystallized and put it in there and grind that down and grind it until it's as smooth and as fine as you think you can get it. Then grind it some more, and
Carl's the expert on that one.
Yeah, like I said, grind it right down. The more time you take with your initial starter, if you don't have access to it, the happier you will be with your product going forward. So grind those crystals as it's going to look exactly like a cream when you're done. You should be able to look at it and not see any crystals. You should be able to taste it a little bit and not be able to decipher, any large crystals or anything like that on your tongue. And that would be your starter. So you're going to take 1 part of that. So if you had 1 cup of starter, add that to 9 cups of your creamed honey, put it in a storage facility, where you can kind of control the temperature. I try to keep it right around about 13 to 15 degrees C, and then that will cream. You can take that then and add that to 9 other parts, and it'll just keep growing. So always make sure you keep your seed.
Yeah, have your wife do that.
You have to make sure that the liquid you're mixing it into has been warmed to where there is no rogue crystals.
Absolutely.
If you don't, these other crystals that are in the liquid can make a coarser. The other thing you need to do is keep a very constant temperature. If it fluctuates between low and high, it'll change the shape and size of your crystals.
Yeah,
55, 56 degrees is the ideal temperature to put it into cream at?
Basement. Nice basement.
Yeah. So what does 55, 56 work out to in Celsius? Right around that 12 to 15 degree mark.
I was going to say 13, 15, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
56
we're probably
degrees.
pretty close.
It's between 13 and 14.
There you go. Yeah. So JW, the thing you have to remember is Doug touched on a really good point. Make sure whatever you're putting that starter to has been heated up and you absolutely don't have any crystals in there, because what will happen is that honey will crystallize pretty much to the size of the largest crystal in your batch. So if you've got one crystal that's larger than what you add to it, they will all grow to that size.
Well, I'm not very big. I usually run about 30 hives, and I'm not great big into honey, but this year I honor system about 600 pounds, you know, on my little honor system here at the farm. But I've never had any honey crystallized. What I've produced, I've sold it all. I've never had any crystallized honey on my property.
Well, save yourself a jar.
I used a hand mixer to do what you're talking about, the mortar and pestle, and it worked out pretty good.
Well, there's a difference between whipping it and grinding it.
My wife's got one of those fancy egg beaters. I don't know the brand of them, but I heard y'all mention them in the past.
Yeah, well, that whips the honey. So you have to be careful, because whipped honey will eventually settle, and customers don't like that, because the whipped honey it'll settle out, so you'll end up with liquid honey on the bottom and the whipped honey still on the top, and they all think something's bad with that honey. They all think it's bad honey. They don't understand it's still honey. It's just in a different form. So got to be a little bit careful if you're going to whip it.
Yeah, I actually did switch today, or the last few days, from the that blade in my KitchenAid to the dough mixer thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I noticed that when I use the blade, a lot of bubbles will come to the top. And after a few days of using that dough mixer, they'll dissipate and they'll get blended back in. Yeah. But it's definitely a different consistency.
Well, that's what my wife's got, is one of those KitchenAids, and it's got that big. You talking the blade? You talk about that big white beater?
No.
Yeah, it's like a paddle.
It looked like a dough.
Yeah.
It looked like a screw.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And then.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to do it. That sounds like a lot of work to me.
It is. It is a lot of work.
So.
I did 4,600 pounds was full.
Oh my God. Not with a KitchenAid, I bet.
No.
Smooth and silky. That's right.
Well, I owe my wife a KitchenAid because I burnt hers up at Christmas time. So.
Creaming honey.
Well, actually, mixing in my lemon pepper and things like that. Yeah. So. But.
Now you just say, "Look, I've got this big commercial one you can use."
Yeah, she basically said, "Go get your own damn mixer," is more or less what she said.
I'm sure that's a report I'm going to get from my wife too if I try to use hers.
Okay, maybe she didn't say get your own dang mixer. Dang may have been substituted with something else in there. But this is a family friendly show, so
most of the time,
you know.
We're kind of like Cinemax After Hours right now.
There you go.
Ed sent me a text, and he's talking about Varroa Med. Have any of y'all heard about that?
Be right back.
I haven't heard of Varroa Med, no.
It says, let me see. Varroa Med is a medicine used to treat varroaosis in honeybee colonies. Varroaosis is a disease of honeybees caused by infestation with a parasite called Varroa mite, Varroa destructor. That was from the European Medicine Agency. So
I don't know how you would know exactly what parasites they're carrying. I'll tell you, I've done a lot of research on the Varroa this year. I've learned more about that pest than I ever thought I would. So, and there's a lot of stuff out there that they still don't know.
I watched the British Columbia bee breeders. They had a session the other night, and it was on mite-resistant bees.
Oh yes.
And they've gone as far as doing 3D images of the mandibles on the bee, and developing mite resistance from that.
Oh.
But the lady, I don't know, she was talking about these bees that they've been developing. Some of them will bite the mite, and when that happens, it breaks the shell and they lose their fluid and they'll die.
Yeah.
But most of it is they'll bite the leg, 1-2 legs off of the mite. But she never went on, okay, after the mite loses 2 legs, do they still carry on? She never got into that at all.
Huh. Well, like I said, there's you know, there's still a lot that I don't think is known about them yet.
Well, she said she went over to the northwest corner of China. They have bees, she says, are very mite resistant. That's where they were getting some of their stock to work with.
Got it.
I didn't realize they were a different type of bee. They're completely different than the European bees that we use.
Oh, I wonder how they would fare in this climate.
Well, she went up in the northwest corner of China. They probably get similar winter up in there, I would think.
I would think so.
But another thing she talked about was your hive beetles. And she said the one way you can help your bees, you have to have a smooth hive front. You can't have a landing board or anything. She said like bees can hover and go in. Mites cannot hover. They got to go like a bullet. And you can reduce the infestation of mites by having a perfectly smooth front on your hives.
No landing board, just let the bees walk out onto the box and walk in.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that have tried to focus in on that, to everything from these tubes that they put in the front of the hives to these what were those red entrances that
the Guardian.
The Guardian, yeah. Now I know with the bug farmer, in fact, I was talking to him today too. So we BS'd on the phone there for probably 20 minutes. I caught him in the grocery store. But he's tried those Guardians and stuff like that too. So I don't know what his take was. I don't think he's convinced that
I've tried them. I spent way too much money on them, and I still had beetles in the colony. So it's I don't know. I hate to say anything didn't work for me, but beetles can get in any little crack, any little crevices. If you have a hole drilled in your box for treating with oxalic acid, they can go right in that little hole. So the best thing that I've found for them so far is those oiled trap bottom boards, but more like the ones that the bug man brought me. That seems to work better than the ones I got from Dadant.
Got her.
Still raining in Indy, Morgan.
Oh yeah. I don't know if we're ever going to dry out.
Yeah. I'm west of Vincennes, about 20 miles, and it's rained all day here and still raining.
Well, send that moisture this way. I'd love to have it.
Yeah, we want you to have it.
We do too.
We don't want any more of your smoke this year.
I don't know. That's the other thing that scares me. If we don't get some moisture now, a whole lot of the country up here burnt up last year. But if we don't get some moisture, I think it's going to be even worse this year.
Yeah, I never was up there. My family used to go up there a lot, but I was the youngest. And there was a rule. You weren't allowed to go on the fishing trips until you were 12.
No.
When I turned 12, the Frenchies came in and netted everything out, and the fishing turned the other way, so they stopped going. But my brothers and my father were telling me that when you're walking, it's almost like walking on a cushion sometimes, because the bed of the needles and stuff like that is so thick. You know, that if when a fire starts, it just smolders and burns and burns and burns up there.
Oh, absolutely, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. So I never knew that.
Don't get me wrong. We got some really good fishing lakes, not in Alberta, just across the border into BC there. We've got some really good fishing lakes. So
yeah.
Alberta, unfortunately, the only thing we seem to have in Alberta is overgrown sloughs. We really don't have a good lake per se. You go up to the, say Great Slave Lake or Lesser Slave Lake, it's pretty good up there. But, right here around Grand Prairie, we really don't have anything for 2.5 hour drive to get to a lake that would be worth fishing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're pretty much in prairie country, are you not, James? You and Doug both?
Yeah, right in the foothills. We're in the foothills of the Rockies here. So,
okay.
I mean, I can look out I used to be able to look out the front window of the acreage and see the mountains all the time. But I mean, I could jump in the truck and I can be in the mountains in an hour. And so
we're prairie parkland here, where I am at.
Okay, but you're both in Alberta, or someone of you in Saskatchewan? It's Saskatchewan.
I'm in the Manitoba-Saskatchewan border and about 50 miles north of the U.S. border.
Okay.
Doug, are you going to the meeting up in Manitoba in February?
I don't know. They're forecasting blizzard.
If I'm going to be there, you've got no excuse.
You hear what he said there, Bob, about the blizzards?
The blizzards. Hey, it only snows on the outside.
It'll be a South Carolina
really
blizzard when he hits
Canada, have you?
I haven't been to that part of Canada.
It only snows on the outside, man. You're in for a treat.
Yeah.
I'll bring up some of this warm weather, hopefully. Well, guys, we've been going for an hour and just about 45 minutes tonight, and it's about 1:45. So I think I'm going to stop the live stream portion. I appreciate everybody that is on here watching right now and hanging out with us and talking bees and making a bunch of comments. And I'm going to have to figure out what the stream team does to get all those super chats all day long for their performance. So I'm going to have to up my game a little bit, I guess, to get it going on. But we
part of a super chat about an hour ago or two.
What's that?
I said I sent you a part of a super chat about 2 hours ago.
Oh yeah, from Amazon. But I appreciate all you guys. Thanks for participating, and we'll see you guys on the next stream.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.